Call Lord Yahweh, Bahasham Hamashak Yahweh Shai. This is your fellow servant Tazawar, back with another lesson. First, I want to start off by giving all glory, honor, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, whom rule well, and from whom we learn this truth. Shalom to you, Akim, who are not in GMS, but are pushing likewise doctrine in spirit and in truth with all sincerity. To you few sisters that are listening and learning, as well as you, Akim, that are scattered among the nations, looking like the other nations, the speckled birds, as well as the hopeful elect, to USA Shalom. This lesson is going to be a short one. All right, is about being expedient, okay? Or just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should do something, okay? So first, let's start off by getting the definition of the word expedient. And this is from the dictionary online, right? Google. Expedient of an action that says convenient or practical, or so like it says convenient and practical, although possibly improper or immoral. All right. Either side could break the agreement if it were expedient to do so. That's an example. All right, of what the second definition is: a means of attaining an end, especially one that is convenient but considered improper or immoral. All right, so the one that we want is the adjective, not the noun. Okay, convenient and practical, although possibly improper or immoral. Now, in our case, we know that our morals derive from Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, right? Not the morality of men. And with that being said, long as we operate Salakia within the confines of the law, or do your best to operate in the confines of the law, you know that you're not being immoral. Okay? So with that, let's grab 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and 12. All right? And it reads, all things are lawful unto me, but all things are not expedient. All right? All things are lawful for me, but I will not be brought under the power of any. All right? So this is actually going into, hold on, before I say that, let's get this word expedient in the interlinear and see if their definition lines up with what we read on Google. All right? Sumfero. Let's hear him say it.
Strong's G 4851. Sumfero.
All right. And it says to bear or bring together. All right. To bear together or at the same time, to carry with others, to collect or contribute in order to help. To help, be profitable, be expedient. And that's the ones we want. Okay, B and C. To collect or contribute in order to help. In this case, we're talking about help as far as edifying the body and one's spirit in your personal walk. Okay? This is why C is important. It says to be profitable, because first and foremost, we want to be profitable to ourselves. The scriptures speak on people that teach and are profitable to others, but are not profitable to themselves based on how they move in the world. Okay? So now let's go back so we can get deeper understanding. It says all things are lawful, but all lawful unto me, but all things are not expedient. All right, now when you read down, this is going into meat. Okay. So when you read down, this is really talking about meat that is sacrificed unto idols, all right, or given unto idols. So a while back, myself and a few other brothers did a video on a group that that basically celebrated Thanksgiving. That's what I'm gonna call it. Even though they said they were celebrating Yahweh Shai, they were eating abominable foods. Okay. So in that case, this verse would not apply to them because what they were doing was outside the confines of the law. Okay, so not only was it unlawful, but it was also not expedient. Right? It wasn't helpful. All right. Actually, there's another verse that says the same thing in Corinthians 10, and that's actually a better one. So let's get that one. 1 Corinthians 10. And this is why. 10 and 23. Okay. 1 Corinthians 10 and 23, it says, all things are lawful for me, but all things are not expedient. All things are lawful for me, but all things edify not. Right? And that is the point. Okay, to edify. So let's get that word edify, which goes into building. All right, I can't say this word in the Greek. Oikodomio. Let's see.
Strong's G 3618. Oikadameo. Oikadameo.
That was close. But it goes into to build a house, erect a building, right? To build up from the foundation, right? Or to restore, build, repair, and then it goes into the metaphor to found or establish. This is what we want right here. To promote growth, it says in Christian wisdom, we just going to say to promote growth in the wisdom of the Hamashiachim, all right? Affection, grace, virtue, holiness, blessed, all right? To grow in wisdom and piety. Okay? So that's really what we want. Again, the context of this verse is going into that which was being sacrificed unto idols. Okay? Meaning, for example, if all the food, like if you went to your parents' house or friend, sibling, whatever, they offered you some food, okay? Say coming up, on this day that they call Christmas, all right, Saturnalia or whatever. And they had a spread, but everything there was lawful for you to eat, right? Even though they may be eating it for a celebration of a pagan holiday or what have you, sacrifice to other idols, other gods, that you're not partaking in that sacrifice. So you just getting a plate, you just getting a meal, right? However, this does go into other things, like say you partake in drink, right? Well, it's not unlawful to have strong drink or even to drink wine, They call Yahweh Shai a wine bibber, right? Because he drank so much wine that the whites of his eyes were red, right? So, and it's our custom as well as that. So, though it may be lawful for us to have wine, because some of our holy days require that we take wine, excess amount of wine, right? Or even if you don't drink it, say to the point where you're inebriated or sloppy drunk, you might get a little tipsy. But let's just say you don't drink to the point where you're shit faced, as they say. If you do, that's definitely not expedient, and you could probably argue that wine is lawful, right? Or that strong drink is not against the scriptures, right? But the scriptures tell you to take things in moderation, all things in moderation, right? So you still going off. But let's just say maybe you don't drink till you shit faced one day, but you drink something every day, strong drink. You have you a little cocktail after work every day, maybe two cocktails every day, right? You like, oh, I'm not getting drunk, so I'm operating within the confines of the law. Yeah, but it's not expedient for you to have 2 drinks every day, 7 days a week, just because you can, right? Because that still builds a dependency for the substance, right? So you have what's called in the medical terms, they use words like acute and chronic, right? So acute meaning it happens over a short period of time, quickly. Chronic meaning over long term. So you could become an alcoholic chronically because you partake in every day, even though it's in the confines of the law, right? That you're not getting drunk. So that would be an example of something that's lawful but not expedient. Okay, and again, the point is to edify, like right here it says in 1 Corinthians 10. I'm gonna get it in the NLT. It says, "You say I am allowed to do anything, but not everything is good for you. You say I'm allowed to do anything, but not everything is beneficial." Right? So, again, we know through the spirit and power of, Yahweh Shai, Wa Yahweh, Yahweh Wa Yahweh Shai, that all things, you have to read this in context where it says all things are lawful, right? That's talking about still operating in the confines of the law, because you're still not supposed to commit adultery. You're still not supposed to, steal, kill, all of those things. Right? So you still have to be held accountable to a standard, and that standard is the law. So I'll use another one. When it comes to women, brothers have an appetite for women, myself included. I love women. Right? And I find many different phenotypes of women attractive, right? But it's not beneficial, it's not expedient for me to deal with a bunch of different women, even though I may be operating to the best of my ability within the confines of the law. Like if she don't got a man, I got a wife already, and she might be like, oh yeah, I know you can have more than one wife, and she might not have no problem with it. But is it expedient for me? Well, I have to consider this woman, whether it be a second wife or a concubine, she gonna want some time, and that'll be time that I barely have now, you know, but I have to devote certain time to this ministry and to this word. And so if I go get me a second wife or a third wife or however many, or even concubines, not even wives, they're going to want demands for my presence. And at this current time, that's not beneficial for me. That's not expedient for me to move in such, even though my wife may be cool with it. And I know in the confines of the law, I have the blessing of Yahweh while Yahweh shy, right? But I have to look at the bigger picture. Okay? And then you got to deal with, if you take another wife, you got to look at finance, how she will meld into, how she fits within the framework of what you already have established. All right, because I know it's some brothers, that maybe in the camp or maybe even on the outside of the camp or affiliate camps that may be dealing with multiple multiple women. So that's a question you have to ask yourself. All right, is the juice worth the squeeze? All right, let's get a Salakia. Let me get this second verse in the book of Corinthians. We're going to stay in Corinthians. This is chapter 8 in the 9th verse. All right. And not to mention, if you take another wife, man, and you the head, you have more responsibility. That ain't just some other box you get to fill. You know what I'm saying? You have responsibilities that come with that. Whether that be finance, whether that be spiritual, she find out that you in the faith and she like, oh, I want to, I'm trying to rock with, how you get down. I'm trying to get my diet together and follow the holy days, And whenever she have an off day, you the first point of counsel. All right, before she go talk to whoever else. Right? So you the in-home therapist, the in-home cheerleader, whatever, all of that. First Corinthians chapter 8, verse 9. All right. Again, these verses were geared towards food and meat, but I'm using them for this purpose here. I just want to put that disclaimer out. It says, but take heed, all right, lest by any means the liberty of yours become a stumbling block to them that are weak. All right. And so for other brothers that are more seasoned in the scriptures, more seasoned in their walk, all right, they further along the spiritual path and in their journey than the newer brothers that come in. Right. So you have young Akim or even brothers that may be in your age group, look at you more like a peer than an authority figure. But, we still get motivation and reproof from those brethren, man, from people in your same age range, or even if you're younger than so it's really not an age thing, it's a spiritual thing. It's brothers that are younger than me in the faith, but they spiritually older than me, and I've been reproved by brothers that are younger than me, and they've been right. So but as far as the younger, new in the spirit brothers, they looking at us how we move, man, and you have to keep the ministry blameless. Remember, that's the point. All right, to offend less. All right, confess your sins, offend less. All right, and then all meanwhile keeping the ministry blameless. Okay, so just because, you know what? Let me read it in the NLT so it makes it plain here. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 8 and verse 9 in the NLT. It says, but But you must be careful so that your freedom does not cause others with a weaker conscience to stumble. All right? Because it might be some, like I use alcohol consumption. Right? It might be some brothers watching you drink, and you may have a high tolerance, and you take you got 2-3 drinks, link up with the Akim, you might have 2-3 drinks, and it might be a new Akim trying to go with the group or whatever, because we are men, all right, and might be following behind y'all, and he can only take 1 drink or 2 drinks and he done, right? Or maybe you have it to where you dealing with multiple women and you still have time for the ministry. All right, every brother not set up that way. That's not every brother's lot. All right, we all given a different measure of the spirit, but we also given different blessings as far as wives and material shit too. All right, so whether that be if you a frivolous spender, you don't know how to manage your money, you just out there, or maybe you got ends. You know what I'm saying? And brothers that maybe don't got deep pockets out there trying to, I see this brother, he got gifts every week, for the Akim. That's not, gift giving is a part of our culture, but that's not what the ministry is about. All right. Charity also is pushing that word, reproving Akims when they need it, reproving the brothers when it's necessary, motivating brothers when it's necessary. All right. When brothers go off, or if they just down, they getting their ass kicked in the world because, Yahweh putting them through some trials, man. That word of comfort, when the comforter come and rest on you, and then you are the vessel that gives that brother what he need to hear. That's charitable. Those are the things that, blot out our sins. All right, not the coin. All right, you can't. That's just like buying your way into heaven, man. You can't, as the Christians say, trying to buy your ticket into heaven. You can't do it that way. You got to come from a sincere place, And although some brothers may give gifts, that's just how they do things, and they're sincere. Again, that might not be the lot for every brother. Okay. So, speaking on discipline and teaching how to be disciplined in different areas of your life: alcohol consumption, diet, women, how you manage your resources. These are things that, in an analogy, are the difference between giving a man a fish and teaching him how to fish. All right. I'm going to get one more verse in the book of Romans, the 15th chapter. We're going to start at 1. All right. Right here in the blue, they got this the title at the top. This header, it says self-denial on behalf of others. That's beautiful, because I wouldn't even, that's the spirit, as we say. Verse 1, it reads, We then that are strong ought to bear the infirmities of the weak, and not to please ourselves. All right. Let every one of us please his neighbor for his good to edification. All right. For even Hamashiach pleased not himself, but as it is written, the reproaches of them that reproached thee fell on me. All right. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. All right. Verse 4 is one of my favorite verses, but the point is in 1 through 3 for this lesson. I'm going to get it in the NLT. All right. It says, We who are strong must be considerate of those who are sensitive about things like this. We must not just please ourselves. We should help others do what is right and build them up in the Lord. For even Hamashiach didn't live to please himself. As the scriptures say, the insults of those who insult you, O God, right, O power, have fallen on me. All right, that is basically saying the servant is not greater than his master in verse 3. Okay, so all of the reproaches that we take up or that are falling upon us, especially in these times as prophecy is rolling out in full steam, you know, those things are going to compound, man, exponentially. First and foremost. So understanding that you have to move with wisdom. All right. And you have to bear the infirmities of those that are weaker than you. This is what it means to be a support for brothers. All right. That's what the body is about. Okay. So without being too long and going on a tangent, I think that proves the point. I hope this lesson finds you all well. All right. I hope you were edified. May the blessing of election be upon your houses. Until next time, I say shalom.